my full VOD, posting it, and then using my own VOD to try to deter people from booking my coaching. And then they're also trying to say that I've never made Challenger. So it's this collective, and it's all the same people. I mean, it's the same people in the same brackets every single time.
There were a lot of people, there were literally hundreds of people who were calling him out for what was a doctored screenshot, or what appeared to be a doctored screenshot. And his response was basically, if you believe that my screenshot is fake, then you believe that the moon landing is fake. And the problem with lying, if you don't know, if you want to be a good liar, you never make specific claims.
He's just a scammer, right? His entire TOS was wrong. We went over that, and he scammed one of my viewers for books.
I just looked through his social media on Twitter, Discord, YouTube, etc., and I found that, yeah, he had never actually hit Challenger on an end.
The only comments I made on this where I said that I'm emotionally uncomfortable with the amount, but that there's technically nothing wrong with what he's doing. I viewed it from both angles.
I'm a dumbass. It's like, no, you guys are just elitist assholes that don't want to teach lower elo players because you think you're better than them.
There's just a lot of very obvious photoshopping elements.
This guy's mannerisms as a human being are really odd. So the first thing he does is like degrade me, make a personal remark that isn't even true, by the way.
There's been a lot of negativity around what I do, and I wanted to take an opportunity to make a more official statement to my YouTube audience, just in case people might be swayed by this literal slander that has been going around my content and my business.
And it always like changed. That's the problem, is that the story always changed.
I legitimately think that they're better human beings than the people that are willing to pay for a coaching, and they think that they have some sort of say on what people should spend their money on.
See, nothing he said so far is actually helpful, right?
People literally spend days of their life creating threads trying to destroy my business and what we've built here.
The problem is that he was selling his coaching under false pretenses.
So when I posted my screenshot to Twitter saying, hey guys, I made Challenger, a bunch of people got really nosy. I'm in this business to make money. I hit my Challenger credential and I sold my account to a fucking Chinese dude.
Neace announcing that he's taking a break from the league scene shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. If you have followed any of his incredible deceitful lies, falsely advertising his brand under false pretenses, actively defrauding people, or the countless dramas he has been involved with in the last 2 years, you will understand that him becoming a persona non grata was an inevitable outcome of his career. So let's begin where it all started, the inception of his league career. Not much is known about Neace's early life, but the start of his content creation career is clear. Neace would aptly call himself Neace, which is just his real life last name, as he is named Mark Neace. Mr. Mark would join the content creation sphere in League of Legends quite early, being a long-standing member to this day. In his young years though, he would fall in love with gaming back in the days of dial-up internet access. That's where his father would let him play Command & Conquer, which is a goated game by the way. In his high school years, he would snuck into a Halo 2 contest at the University of Maine, where he acted as the team's ringer. Not entirely sure what a ringer is, but it's probably when a team organizes a practice session with another team, but one of the players can't make it and the team doesn't have a sub, then they use a ringer, a substitute. Neace's team stumped the competition and took first place, but the $100 prize was left hanging as Neace was revealed to the judge to not be a student there. According to Neace, this was an aha moment for him, as he started to think, to even have an opportunity to win something from gaming, there's got to be something more I can do with this. Neace would finish high school in 2007. Neace also played with Ninja back in the Halo days, possibly Halo 3. Neace's parents were very hardworking people, but neither of them went exactly to college. They wanted Neace to go to college, and as such he was pressured to do so, but trying to start a business in gaming would be put on the shelf temporarily. Neace would enroll into a Full Sail University in Florida, which is a digital arts and design school. However, student debts and loans is a prevalent issue in the United States and would expectedly also befall onto Neace. After Neace got home from his time in college, he would have issues finding a job, and his parents were also stressed because they co-signed loans related to Neace's debt. Neace's debt was about $1,000, and out of frustration, Neace would enlist in the US Army in 2010 at 21 years of age. But he was also frustrated by the fact that he couldn't get a job in the gaming field at the time. He would serve in the 3rd Striker Brigade, 2nd Infantry Division, where his job conveniently mirrored the games he played previously, combining massive amounts of data and preparing combat soldiers on how to carry out their mission, an intelligent analyst so to speak. Neace would be deployed to Afghanistan but never personally saw combat, but it was stressful nonetheless to Neace. While I was deployed, there was a loss of sleep, a lot of stress, and there was always the feeling of responsibility. Was I doing enough for these guys to make the right decisions on the battlefield? His experience was positive overall though. He found it to be a really cool opportunity to meet some really amazing people in the military. After a year in Afghanistan, Neace was able to come home with almost a clean slate of debt. He managed to pay off all the loans, and if he stayed in the military, he was able to be deployed as a sergeant and an enlisted intelligence analyst, and even end up as an officer if he remained. However, Neace rather wanted to do something he loved the most, video games. In fact, when he was in the military, he was watching the popular streamer Ninja at the time, which inspired Neace a lot. According to Neace himself, he also drafted a business plan he would execute when he finished his time in the military. With the debt gone and also the pressure from his parents, he would start to work really hard on his content creation career. According to himself, he banked about $30,000 when he finished in the army, and he packed all of his stuff to move to Los Angeles to go all in on streaming. His parents weren't exactly supportive, but rather horrified. Neace recalls that this decision wasn't exactly smart, as he thought he needed to be in LA to be a successful streamer. Once he reached LA with his car, he would move in with a YouTuber who was a little bit more successful at the time. Not sure who that YouTuber is exactly though, but Neace 9 years ago in 2014 would make a channel trailer for BingeGaming.tv, which is what he named himself back then. This trailer was a combination with Lily Pichu, and what's even more funnier is that Brofresco the GOAT is in the comments. Binge Gaming TV's inception could be traced back to 2012 though. Neace would start creating content in League of Legends, and according to Neace, he would stream 8 to 12 hours a day for a couple of years on end. While also streaming League, he became the first person in the world to achieve level 30 in the game Destiny. An article by GameSpot, Neace, which was his gamertag at the time, would reach level 30 just 2 weeks after Destiny's release in 2014 with just 107 hours of game time. It's clear that he was a hardworking man and his passion would motivate him even further, but he would also have his downsides.
I'm just so incredibly passionate about this stuff, and like that was part of the reason I left League. Honestly, is because I wasn't passionate about
A little known fact is that during Neace's whole League content career, he's been allegedly trying to quit the game 10 to 12 times. He would attempt to join other communities like Dota 2, StarCraft, Destiny, and Fortnite. Neace even had a big drama with Ninja, which started to show his true colors. This drama essentially was about Neace posting about how salty he was that Ninja didn't react to a play Neace made in a tournament that they both played in. His YouTube channel wasn't doing well at the time as well. On the 12th of December 2018, and note that this was Season 8 of League of Legends, at a time Neace took break from League, Neace would tweet, "Known Ninja for 5+ years, he knows my channel is near death switching from LoL to Fortnite, as he banks millions from the same game. I called him anytime he did something amazing to personally congratulate him. He got famous, he can't even be happy for me." In this insane post, he added a clip titled Friend, by the way.
This again? Oh, poor thing. Gosh. Oh, God bless.
Just like that.
Ziff. Oh,
Destroys it.
Oh, I feel
Neace
so bad for you.
Looking to make history in the solo format today. He's at 9 eliminations.
I think Neace is he just has a point.
He's just dancing.
He wants a point to prove.
Dude.
But
His 2 out of 2 posts stated, "Ninja, a phenomenal streamer and competitor, but as a friend he has been one of the most disappointing people I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. Just fuming mad and can't even say a kind word to me after all the work I have put in at this game. Money changed our relationship." Jess Blevins, Ninja's wife, would respond to this saying, "You're one of the few people in the community we invited to our wedding. You unfollowed us after your drama with Keemstar. You asked us for a job. We let you stay in our room at events for free so you could attend, and you talk shit about Tyler being a skilled player. Stop." Tyler sat there and decided to not air dirty laundry or tarnish your name during a great moment for you. But now you're going to go on Twitter and tell one bullshit side to a story. You have been a backstabbing friend and Tyler has no obligation to stroke your ego on stream. Ninja's wife dropped a nuclear bomb, to say the least, that day. There's more to it, to both this drama and to other stuff, but if you want to explore more, there'll be tons of links in the description if you are interested. His Fortnite arc in 2018 wasn't really going well, as it both showed that Neace would burn any normal people he interacts with given a long enough scale. Moreover, he would be a persona non grata or an unwelcome person to most of these communities, failing miserably. So none of these communities really accepted him. He continued with League, and between 2017 to 2018, Neace's stream would start to die, as he said. His Fortnite adventures didn't go well, nor was he making enough money to be satisfied with what he was doing. He would return to League after his Fortnite fiasco after Season 8 of League. He even attempted to get a job at Riot Games, and they would actually fly him out and interview him. However, Riot wouldn't exactly hire him, and he would thus continue streaming. This is where everything would change though, as Neace would get a smug idea that would shape his future. One particular stream, he would tell someone, "Hey, if you pay me $20, I'll look at your replay of gameplay." And this was the inception of his coaching business. That first day he would go through somewhere around 15 replays, and he would coincidentally go from nothing to making a lot of money. The coaching business would keep growing, but his wife would come with a smart idea, create a website, and so Neace.gg would come into play, where he set the prices at around $100 to $120. And according to Neace, he would instantly get booked out with 6 clients a day, every day at $120. This website would grow in the future to host more coaches on it, where Neace would get get a 20% royalty free from orders. But Neace's coaching started even prior to the Fortnite arc. In fact, according to this one article, it was back in 2015 at $20, and by 2017 he would up his coaching prices to $40 from $30. It would only go up from here. Neace would also eventually start multiple YouTube channels such as League of Legends Coaching, LOL Coaching, Neace, but this account previously would just be called League of Legends Challenger Coaching. Neace, his biggest channel, and Chill Neace. His coaching would eventually start to grow due to a growing demand. You know how it usually goes in a free market economy, also known as capitalism. There is a lot of demand, but there is only one guy, so low supply, thus there has to be more money and then there will be less demand. But still people will buy at the high price, and his schedule would be balanced. This is how it goes for almost all coaches. Nevertheless, his coaching would be priced at $250 on livestream or $300 off stream. At some point you would even see his coaching being increased further, $300 on stream, $350 on private. He would have a very successful career when it comes to his coaching business, or so it seemed. In 2020, his first full year of coaching, he made around $500,000. In 2022, it would grow to $700,000 revenue a year coaching League. He would also host so-called boot camps, which were events where people could attend for way cheaper and get coached, or attend classes which were hosted by positional coaches, you know, also known as good players in a specialized role. However, Neace would admit to losing money on this adventure. The cause for his growth on social media is also because Neace entered the League scene quite early, where he populated keywords on YouTube with Challenger Coaching. For example, you have these titles where he explicitly states Challenger LOL Coaching, which also has the video tags Challenger Coach Coaching. His YouTube channel today still has Challenger in it. You also have him flexing Challenger rank in thumbnails. This rapid growth from seemingly financial tough times to massive wealth would also cause Neace to get an ego, which we'll get into later. Now, his quote-unquote Challenger Coaching would become the cause for controversy in the League community as well, further in the years of 2022 to 2023, where his career would also see its downfall. Initially, people would criticize the fair market price of $300 coaching and whether it's worth the cost, essentially an issue of quality for the price given. This criticism would usually be on Twitter. The first viral post would be uttered by a Twitter user named Hey or Hefe. He would attach 2 screenshots of Neace's coaching with Challenger icons attached to it. Most people would be surprised about the pricing that Neace had at the time, where many thought it was a scam, saying he stuck diamond or just general shock. You could even pay Neace $600 to do with quote-unquote a Challenger player for a whole day, be it on US, NA or LAN. This option was still a thing until he removed it because he went to Korea in the future of 2023, as most wouldn't and couldn't buy it then. Nelson also retweeted this post in late 2021, and he was a head coach for credible teams like LNG Esports in China, G2 Esports and XL, both in the LEC. Why be a pro team coach when you can earn 2.1k a day and 63k a month if you can just work 7 hours a day? Many personalities echoed, rightly so, about how demand and supply works. People mad at this don't understand how marketing works. Neace has single-handedly made himself one of the most popular coaches on YouTube by marketing himself brilliantly and filling a void that people didn't know existed. Don't forget what he did to get where he is. Molecule would say, whatever company hosting this and probably taking a 20% commission is taking the piss. Instead of having a crab mentality and trying to destroy his brand, you can simply not post this. Neace would conveniently say, looks like the haters are coming. Shame. I have nothing but respect for pro players and high-skilled players. I've done nothing but put my coachings out on YouTube for years and I've earned my place. You can respectfully f yourself. I don't set my prices, my customers do. He also made a video which has been his channel trailer since then, where he echoes mostly the same as he has already said. In addition, LS would also have his opinion on Neace's prices.
The only comments I made on this were in spring with Dominate, where I said that I'm emotionally uncomfortable with the amount, but that there's technically nothing wrong with what he's doing. I viewed it from both angles. That, like, I am uncomfortable because I understood that market and the people that are in it. One of the main reasons I stopped coaching was because I often felt that in session. I felt like the amount that I was having to charge because of supply and demand was not actually reflective in terms of value for the person buying.
Tarzane would also get caught of this and wanted to review Neace's coaching. Tarzane made quite a few TikToks and YouTube videos that would have varying degrees of popularity, but would showcase just how bad quality Neace's coaching was, such as his lack of mechanics, game knowledge, and bad macro, albeit he is known as the self-proclaimed king of macro. Neace paid no attention to this criticism though, thinking it was invalid, and thus he would accuse Tarzane of just being obsessed. However, Tarzane wouldn't take this kind of brush off, so he would respond by saying, that feeling when your best content is scamming people not only for the $250 to $300 they have to spend on your coaching, but also the fact that you will not reimburse them if they miss the session. Enjoy being blasted for being a piece of shit. Neace would again respond, but with a video clearly stating that he's getting a lot of money.
I'm just taking a break from running the boot camp. It had over 1,000 people sign up. Ever since you've started doing this weird Twitch obsession shit, I've gotten way more viewers and way more coaching than I've ever gotten. So sincerely, I want to say...
But what Tarzane is talking about here is the refund policy that Neace has, and it's in reference to an earlier drama, but it might get confusing here, because a lot of people thought that the initial Tarzane Neace drama on Twitter is where the majority of criticism started, but in fact it goes a bit more back in time. It all started on Reddit, where a post by the Killer Tofu stated, "How is Neace having so much trouble in Bronze Elo? How to really win the League of Legends?" In this Reddit post, Neace essentially got exposed of how bad Neace really is. This supposed challenger player is getting absolutely stomped by Bronzes. Most people, though, would just attribute this to singling out a league game which can have a great variance. A league community would discuss coaching and the prices on coaching. For example, Tyler1 would share his thoughts on it.
Is paying $300 anyway for coaching, you deserve to have your life savings ripped from you regardless. You idiot. $300. Fucking dumb. Getting coaching is hilarious, first of all. That's your top tier, maybe. Okay, but there is, for what, Neace, the guy, no offense to this guy, funny. But bro, you can find random challenger players on Twitch that have like 10 viewers and they coach for like $20 if you want paid coaching. But you can find YouTube videos, watch streams, watch what other people do for $100. What do you think of Neace on his coaching or how good he is? Nothing. Don't know shit. All I kind of know what he looks like. That's about it. I don't know shit. All I can say about any of that shit is, bro, dude, if you're paying however much money for coaching, you're a dumbass bum. You're a fraud and you're an idiot. Dude, you can get any coaching on by yourself, watching VODs, or you can just watch YouTube videos or other streamers or shit like that. And just do what they do. You're idiots. If you're sitting there paying however much, like $100 for a 1 hour coaching session or something, you're so stupid. Unless you're at like the highest level of play, trying to get to the higher level of play, like D1 trying to get Masters, or like Masters trying to get Challenger or something like that. But if you're like Silver 1 or Bronze 2 trying to get coaching, you're a dumbass.
You would also have the Wall Nelson incident, and in June of 2022, Tarzane would post a tweet saying that someone paid $300 for private coaching from Neace in March. His terms of service states that you cannot get a refund for interrupting a live stream. But it is a private session that was paid for. Guy never gets to reschedule and gets $300 taken from him and gets told to book again. The policy Neace had at the time was that if you interrupt a live stream, which means by being late by 50 minutes or more for a coaching, you will have no entitlement to a refund. 50% refunded if you do it in less than 24 hours, and you're likely to get refunded in full if it is greater than 24 hours. Neace would respond to this post by Tarzane in the form of a video where he showcased his obvious ego.
Yo, what up? Good morning, everybody. Hi, Tarzan. I'm a little under the weather, so bear with me. But it's nice to see you're still being a little poopy pants, as per usual. Hope all is well. In regards to your story, I haven't read it, and I know you don't really give a shit about this person. Either way, let's be honest. But if he did get screwed over in some way, I'll happily refund him, just like I have like 30 plus clients in the past like 3 to 6 months I've refunded with no issues. Generally though, if clients are 15 minutes or more late, I no longer do the coaching anymore. I've set up a stream around them. I've set up a day around them. I'm the one that manages the refunds. I'm the one that eats the PayPal fees. I've got other coaches on my site that I've got to make sure that they're taken care of also. I do not have time for clients that schedule and then don't show up on time. Generally, clients do show up on time ever since I've started doing this. Again, not that you care about that or other people. You just want to talk about me a lot. You've been doing that a lot lately. Yeah, just stop the weird drama. Just text me, buddy. Have a nice day, everybody. Bye.
After calling Tarzane poopy pants and flexing the amount of clients he gets, he would post Tarzane's initial tweet as it was deleted. Tarzane would respond again by saying that he didn't delete this accidentally, but deleted it as he believed Neace refunded him. Neace would double down though and say that, "I said I will look into it, and it looks like a standard no-show which I don't refund. Pretty standard practice in most industries, and if I make an exception for him, I will have to make one for all others. You can tweet again though, if you want." Tarzane didn't like this as the person in question was a part of Tarzane's community too, so he responded saying, "You really are a money-hungry sociopath piece of shit. You will get what you deserve." 16 hours after the Twitter exchange, this is what Tarzane also had to say on stream, especially regarding Neace's ego.
Haven't watched Neace in a while, right? We go to Neace and then we watch and it's like the coaching is just so bad. There's no explanation. He's just telling people to do X and Y. No reasons told. Maybe there's like a post-game analysis, I don't know. So I tweeted this because he showed me that he paid for $300 and didn't make the session. I feel I need to use my platform to help, my viewers, people that need it. After I tweeted this is what Mr. 40-year-old man tweets back at me. This guy's mannerisms as a human being are really odd. So the first thing he does is like degrade me, make a personal remark that isn't even true, by the way. We've gone over this like fucking, what, 4 years now. And then he says stuff like, I don't care about other people. So he's trying to like portray the fact that I'm a sociopath, and during the middle of
do the coaching anymore. I've set up a stream around them. I've set up a day around them.
I've set up a stream around them. I've set up a day around them. For 90 minutes of coaching, if someone doesn't show up, you're telling me you're just sitting at your fucking chair waiting. If it's off stream, it's a pirate session. So like, this just doesn't make sense. He's just a scammer, right? His entire TOS was wrong. We went over that, and he scammed one of my viewers for $200. So yeah, and then he tweets this. When he accidentally deletes this, which he will, here's what he posted. But the thing is, I already deleted it. Like, this was like 20 minutes after I already deleted it. So I don't even know, like, is this guy brain dead, or was he just waiting for me to delete it? Because he said in this, he's gonna refund the guy. This guy's such a money-hungry piece of garbage. I said I won't look into it, and it looks like a standard no-show, which I don't refund. Pretty standard practice in most industries, yes. Industries where, like, life is relevant, not fucking coaching on a virtual video game that you fucking suck cock at. You sucked at this game your whole life. You played Fortnite, you failed at that too. You come back to League and you fucking suck dick at this game, and then your YouTube channel Reddit RNG'd like Yasuke killing Faker on fucking Malzahar Yasuo matchup, you RNG your your YouTube channel. So you have a career again, right? That's fine. You want to spend, people want to spend $300 for you, that's completely fine. And I mean, I saw this tweet. I mean, this guy's a fucking narcissistic, sociopathic fucking weirdo. He tweeted this: hold up, I'm gonna cry myself to sleep tonight. Like, he gets this many sessions, so I thought he's gonna refund $300, bro. He has like 10 sessions in 4 days, or it's like more than 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He has like 14 sessions in 4 days. So I was sure he's gonna refund. So I just deleted the tweet. Why would I keep it up? And dude, just for the next fucking 16 hours, like, I just got mentioned at the whole fucking day. This is a standard practice in today's world. If you don't show up, yes, not 100% of the fucking thing where this guy's sitting in his fucking chair scamming people that are low IQ as fuck. Don't get me wrong. If you pay $300 for this guy's session, you deserve to get scammed. But why is he taking 100%, and not giving anything back if they're late? Let's say your fucking dog dies, your dad dies, you have to fly somewhere. You tell him 24 hours prior, like, you lose like he says he might refund 50% or something before 24 hours. Like, it's just fucking insane. And then he scammed a GFX artist. Like, I went over this too, like a week ago or some shit. Dude, are we smurf on this drama? Do you smurf on nothing your whole life, man? And then he said this, so I realized, like, once the tweet was gone, he doubled down, right? I messed up. I should have kept the tweet up and waited till he actually refunded, but he didn't. So yeah, how does he have any relevance in the scene? He's an actual fucking failure.
Neace would also make a video addressing the drama. Neace's coaching quality would also be the cause for discussion, such as a post by FloodLol on October 4th in 2022 saying, just got this Neace coaching TikTok on my For You page. Actually, unreal, this is what people pay $200 for XD. With it, a video of Neace screaming at his client.
You shove first, you shove first. Shove first. No, we're not going blind. You're not going blind. Yeah, I don't know why I'm here if you're not listening.
I mean...
But why am I here though? Why am I here? The play's dead. Points give you more gold! They give you more gold than rotating! You get more XP! Why the fuck am I here? I could be hanging out with my wife right now. Why am I here? Waste my fucking time.
Flood would go on to shout out other coaches in the sphere, saying, since this tweet is blowing up more than I expected, here are some coaches that are actually worth both your time and your money and actually will help you if you're looking to improve. Feel free to tag more, I probably forgot some. I think shouting at someone mid-game for ignoring a play you murmured and didn't explain very well is the pinnacle of coaching. You get easy TikTok plus void of any criticism because your clients are paying 3x the expected rate, so your coaching must be the best. Yeah, that's never okay, what the hell? Careful, you might get copyright strike by the king of macro. While one could argue that Tarzan Neace refund policy drama is petty, one can't really fail to see how it showcased Neace's narcissism and greed. This is also where Yasukeh would shortly come into the picture, but more about him later. Tarzan and Neace would beef with each other continually, and this is primarily where a valid concern that Neace's coaching quality was lackluster at best. If a decent player spent 50 minutes just watching Neace coaching, one could recognize that many of the things he says are objectively wrong, and whereas prominent, well-credible coaches such as Vega V2, Last Shadow 9 or Seal would always be able to show their in-depth game knowledge within the first 15 minutes. These coaches, compared to Neace, aren't comparable. This is where Neace's coaching would become heavily scrutinized, especially by Tarzan, and rightly so. If someone pays for an expensive product, one would suppose good quality would come with it. Tarzan was not only able to show that Neace's coaching was just bad in quality, but in fact objectively wrong, such as this clip which went viral on TikTok.
Live as soon as I get my stuff set up and get my internet.
How is this a coaching session? He's literally just fucking watching this guy and like talking about his life. This is not coaching. Like, imagine $300 and this guy's like talking to his chat during the session.
Tarzan showcased that Neace, for example, doesn't know how Nocturne W works on dragons, or perhaps he's unable to time it correctly. For example, this autoclip by Nemesis, you could showcase that Neace didn't know about plants being shown on the map.
Your lock screen, you can't see, so move your camera to the right so we can see if there's a plant. Please move your camera to the right. Please.
Oh my god, what is he saying? You can see it on the minimap if there are plants.
I'm begging you. I fucking know there is, because I do this for a living, and you're on your fucking lock screen half the damn game.
However, variance is a real thing in League, especially if you single out the game. In addition, it's frequent that many coaches today can't play mechanically well but are able to strategize well, thus they are coaches. Regardless, Tarzan would be able to find a pattern in Neace's coaching where variance was eliminated. Yasukeh would explain this in greater detail. For example, in this Nunu coaching, Neace didn't comment on the important concept of tempo.
His coaching, as an example right here in this TikTok, it's more or less saying that there's a lot of pieces of game knowledge that aren't being transferred in the coaching. As an example, right here, the Nunu.
Like, this is huge, right? Why doesn't he tell him about his black clicking camps?
The Nunu went to go for an extra auto attack on a camp that was a complete waste of time because the camp was already going to die. This is a really big aspect of jungling. So the reason why he brought this up is that if you're even doing live coaching, this is something that you should always be bringing up, because over the course of an entire full clear, this is going to lose you about 8 seconds of time potentially, which would be very, very bad.
Seal, which was the head coach for Rogue, where he finished first place in the 2020 Spring-Summer season for LEC, and as well as first place in Summer season playoffs of the same year. And Seal would also criticize Neace's coaching and as well as compare it to Veigar V2. The difference between the quality of the coaching quickly became clear. Seal also criticized how Neace doesn't provide any replicable system for his clients. This is where the player or the client would go into the next game and have the same thought processes in every situation.
Well, the good news is you have red buff for it, so it's not like it's...
Yeah, that's why I knew I would regen it.
See, nothing he said so far is actually helpful, right?
It's a good play.
Okay, what does that do? Why is it a good play? Why is it a good play? What is the objective? What are the thought processes? What is he buying for? What is he basing for? Where is he hovering? Where's the enemy jungler? What are some habits that he should be implementing now? What are some things that he's doing right now that are wrong, possibly in the first 6 minutes that he shouldn't be doing thought process wise?
Of reset, but at the same time.
Yeah.
No, you cannot shove reset. You need to play for item. Does this make sense? So the problem with live coaching is most of it is just fucking backseat gaming. It's completely useless. Let's see what he talks about in the VOD review, because maybe this has some substance.
You guys can never... The problem is your brain wasn't figuring out that this is never gonna work.
Okay, why was his brain not figuring out that this would never work? What are replicable systems that you are bringing in, once again, to your player, to your client, so that he can go into next game and have the same thought process in every situation? How do you want to approach Dragon? How do you want to retake? Do you want to take as 4? How should your position be? Should it always be through topside, or is it better to go through bot?
The information provided by Neace was ambiguous and not always correct. As for Veigar V2, he would provide instantly useful information with clear, effective and correct explanations that just sound logically solid.
So he's already talking about runes, specifics behind the lane.
One thing just real quick that you need to do for your settings is play without name tags.
Really good solo key habit, of course, excellent.
Because it takes up space for no reason, and like the way you are as a human being, you start reading as soon as you see text, right? So right now you're reading this, you're reading this.
Absolutely valid, absolutely valid.
Like, just thought about that.
I didn't even think about that. I just tell people to take off name tags to my high elo clients, because I mean, when I was coaching, it's because most high elo clients are complete monkeys and they are really toxic and they like to type and they memorize names. They think about how they're going to int them next time or how they're not going to try as hard. That's why I did it. This makes a lot more sense.
As previously said, Neace would brand these coaches and critics as jealous haterisms, and especially calling Tarzan obsessed over him. Tarzan was the main person to spearhead the critique of Neace, but Tarzan's audience wasn't as big as Neace at the time. For starters, Neace had collaborated with a lot of content creators. These good experiences and collaborations made the content creators naturally sway to Neace's defense, and they didn't pay a lot of attention to Tarzan's arguments. In addition, Tarzan is a very polarized content creator where a lot of people just generally hate him. So therefore, at the time, people were majorly on Neace's side in this drama. Even LS would state his opinions on this, being arguably the most neutral person in this drama.
Dude, I got blocked by Neace, which is I got blocked by him. I've never interacted with him. Like, you know what I mean? I have not engaged in any of his like tweets at me or like his subtweets at me. I never engaged in any of them.
Scared of you, dude.
But also the weirdest thing is that of all the really large content creators that were like shitting on him, I felt like, I mean, you can tell me if you disagree, I felt like I had the fairest take and that nothing he's he's doing is actually wrong, but that morally I was uncomfortable with it because I understand the market that he's actually operating in. And he can try to spin his market however he wants, right? Like I was having this conversation with someone else that yes, you do get the occasional people that come along that are fucking earning obscene amounts of money, and the amount that he's charging does not impact them, but that is not the mass majority of people that are consuming that product.
In a podcast with Max Waldo, Ellis would give Neace the benefit of doubt as much as possible, even advocating for the fact that Neace's pricing is fair according to the free market. However, he would doubt that whether the quality of the coaching is worth people's money.
I don't think there's a problem with his prices. I've been one of his only like defenders on that he's free to charge $350 on the basis of supply and demand. What I feel emotionally uncomfortable with is I feel like the $350 is like when you go to an underground shopping mall and you buy like a Supreme sweater and it's not really Supreme. Okay, like that is my okay. Like when you know, you get what I'm saying. You got that nice shirt, it says Louis Vuitton on it. It's not really Louis Vuitton, okay? Like actually that shirt was made 2 nights ago in a fucking warehouse behind the building. Like now maybe some people are gonna say that like I'm saying that it's like fake there or whatever. All I'm saying is that you're not actually getting what I think most people think that they're getting when they make the purchase.
Ellis would double down on this in a later podcast with Forrest Within, where again he would mention that his stance was neutral initially. Neace would also want to join this podcast to talk with Ellis and Forrest. This whole interaction between Neace and Ellis is a greater ploy by Neace that requires greater context. At this point in time, Ellis would have been blocked by Neace. Why? Well, Neace documented this well in a video he would post one day after the Ellis podcast with Forrest. I blocked Ellis from Twitter after the solo queue betting news. He knows this via DM. I did not block him for no reason. He did not defend me. He went to his streams and lauded his morale superior to his audience for not coaching low elo. The latter part of this tweet is dishonest though, as Ellis was rather just talking about Neace, and personally speaking to Ellis, he was being uncomfortable charging expensive coaching sessions because he knew his clientele, and his clientele would often be people who couldn't afford the coaching sessions, where at times even Ellis clients would ask for the money back after buying a coaching session because they needed it for necessities. It was all a question of ethical prices and taking customers who can actually afford it. Neace addresses the podcast and the Ellis block more in his video, The Real Reason Esports Hates Me. Here you can note the fact that Neace belittles Ellis and co. In essence, Neace would resent the supposed fact that the esports community, that being Ellis, I Will Dominate, Forrest and so on, are elitist and has a religious following, much like a cult. And he would just ramble about incoherent intentional targeting against Neace and how people are after him because he's making more money than them. This targeting isn't exactly without reason though, but we'll get more into that later. This podcast by Ellis with Forrest mainly just discussed how prices set by Neace are fair, but they both noted that clients might be irresponsibly buying expensive coaching sessions, how Ellis has a right to not interact with Neace if he doesn't want to, how they think age doesn't seem important when it comes to coaching, and they also doubted whether Neace's coaching is good enough quality for the price sent, and as well as among other topics that we'll get to very shortly. Neace would attempt to join the podcast, or at least he really wanted to, and Forrest would shut him down comically. But Neace wouldn't accept an L. In fact, he never would in his entire career. He would go on to insinuate that Ellis has a cult following, which is an obvious attempt at downplaying valid criticism. He would say, "Keep worshipping though, my friend, bless up," adding a personal attack to Ellis, stating that additionally Ellis is not a coach for anyone more than 2 months at a time before he mysteriously is not anymore. This has been debunked by Ellis in another clip.
So let's talk about something. Let's talk about why this guy's tweets are really dumb. Okay, divided by what? 6. 132. Now, obviously, this is slammed by Roar and the fact that most of these things were challengers, and there's 2 disbands. Yeah, it averages out to a little bit more than 1 split, but when you factor in that there's disbands, that's like where it happens. But there's so many people that have like 1 split stints. Because if I include my time with organizations, you would add the 3 years here, and you would add the 1 year 7 day with T1. But like, this is just what I mean. It's so bad, man. This is actually insane, and it has 14K likes. I don't even understand it, man. It's so weird. Now, yes, the number here is still not very good. It's 133, but a disband and a disband.
And again, Neace would end it all with some more cult talk. I like to keep religion out of my video games. But this behavior was a result of Ellis's relations with Neace. Neace and Ellis actually interacted with each other back in 2014 when Neace was going to Korea to bootcamp and got help from Ellis. They would exchange DMs and Ellis and Neace would meet up for a dinner. Here though, allegedly, Ellis would have an ugly interaction with Neace as he behaved incredibly weird and rude. But as this information isn't exactly public, we'll leave it at that. After this ugly interaction, Ellis would distance himself from Neace. Neace would would attempt to always insert himself into conversations with LS on Twitter, trying to leech off of him. Note that LS is a bigger content creator than Neace at the time. Neace would also intentionally state absurd things to try to get a reaction out of LS, but LS was steadfast on his stance of not interacting with Neace, as he saw through the attention wanting and the attempted leeching. And which again, this leeching is why Neace wanted to join the Forest LS podcast, and as well as why he's open to have a real conversation about coaching ethics simply. Anyways, this podcast would still be branded as haterism by Neace, and he pleaded to get onto the podcast, which LS didn't cater into, rightly so. While this drama had elapsed, a few major developments were already revealed about Neace at the time. First of all, Tarzan would be subject to false DMCA strikes. Neace would copyright strike Tarzan's YouTube and TikTok videos because they featured or mentioned him, albeit Tarzan properly transformed the content to fair use. And nevertheless, criticism and reviews are protected by fair use law, which is what Tarzan did with the content. Tarzan wouldn't be the only subject to this unfair abuse of the copyright system, as Christopher Lee, or Seal, would also get striked. These strikes were contested, of course, and YouTube would later repeal the strikes as they were deemed to be illegitimate. Neace has copyright struck my video. Lots I have to say about this, but not just the issues and behavior, but the general attitude behind my arguments, which have been a consistent source of annoyance for me. Take me to court, you have no case. A thread. Seal will basically argue that his video was transformative content and that there were zero personal attacks in the video, making a defamation or a harassment a non-viable ground in the court of law. Seal also said that I have a huge issue with the ongoing use of ad hominem in arguments and debates. Stick to the topic, rebuttal, counter-argument, whatever you want. This is a huge issue that I run into not just with Neace, but with other content creators. Neace would initially respond to Seal's video by saying, oh look, another coach that sadly don't have much of their own work to do. In all of my years of doing my work, I've never found the time to stop and review others. Fox intelligence and gamer elitism is on full display here. I'll take being worse any day. Thank you so much. Seal would continue to say, below this tweet there are several replies by Neace himself, personally attacking my character, achievements, and belittling my ability as a coach, as I'm an assistant coach. At no point in my video did I use an ad hominem in my analysis. All these tweets are now deleted. This is a common occurrence on Twitter and Reddit. The issue is even more prevalent with several content creators. Of course, I don't waste my energy responding to these personal attacks. As a public figure, Neace and any coach should be subject to the public. The main point is, stick to the actual problem instead of attacking the person. Was the draft an issue? Gameplay, coaching, systems, data analysis? I went through certain interactions in the past with people on Twitter and most are deleted. If you take every bit of criticism as a personal attack, do not post online and do not be a public figure. Of course, there are limits to this. I think personal attacks, threats, and anything other is unacceptable. In the past, I have been called a scammer, hard-stuck idiot, and many other things. What did I do? Reached out and asked why and what I can do better. Most of them told me off. Some of them gave me room to grow to make me into what I am today. To them, cheers. Perception is not reality. Nothing I said in this video was personal, and if you choose to take it personal, do so. I understand that Neace was a US veteran, probably a good guy too. In no way am I attacking his character, but rather analyzing his product. With it, Seal attached a screenshot showing Neace's recent post saying, done with socials for this foreseeable future. All updates going forward will be when, where I am alive, and highlights from streams and videos. I am so depressed and exhausted, everyone attacking me from all angles constantly. I didn't ask for any of this, I just do my job every day. It's so painfully obvious you guys failed yourselves and want to tear me down. But why? I never did anything to any of you. And then the last tweet was already shown. TLDR, this shit is no different to suing a review bro for negative food reviews. Neace would also eventually talk about stopping copyright striking people who are quote-unquote hating on him and cease to do so. However, if this went to court, Seal and Tarzan would likely win the court case, but obviously it would be an expensive adventure, so nothing was done legally. Seal actually discussed doing it, but again, the expensive adventure discouraged him. Perhaps the most damning development was when Yasukeh, or Yasubro on Twitter, proved with extensive research that Neace faked his credentials. His challenged the ranks and also made several false claims about himself which he used for marketing purposes. This effectively would be the cause for financial fraud and false advertising. But who exactly is Yasukeh and how is he related to this story? In fact, most of this video is built upon research by this person, and the very downfall of Neace can be attributed to him alone. Briefly has he been mentioned so far, and briefly can you see him in a few clips already showcased. As you may know, Neace is actually a Tryndamere OTP and Yasukeh is also a Tryndamere OTP, and they're both from the NA server. Yasukeh would eventually climb the ranks of NA and a few content creators would create content about him, especially his Stridebreaker face rush build on Tryndamere that would get both popular and become meta. Neace as a Tryndamere player would get questions about Yasukeh and the build, but the first interaction Yasukeh would have with Neace was a negative one. This is where Neace actually lied about Yasukeh's rank, stating that he isn't a Masters player when he was actively 400 LP at the time. According to Yasukeh, Neace also knowingly lied about this, as Neace was aware of his actual rank. Yasukeh is a man of honesty and integrity, and with the initial but superficial research he did on Neace showed that he was actively defrauding people by marketing under false pretenses to people who didn't know anything better. Yasukeh also is a person who is against unethical revenue practices in the League community, which is rampant in the scene. Yasukeh would actually extensively cover the initial Tarzan versus Neace drama and provide valuable contextual insight to it. In addition, he would also eventually do extensive research into Neace's claims about being a multi-season, multi-role challenger player. The thing about good liars is that they'll never make specific claims, but this is where Neace's major blunder would come into play. He would make the specific claim of being a multi-seasonal, multi-role challenger player on the North American server specifically, and he would also specifically make a claim that he reached challenger in NA on his account Death by Cards. 1 month after Tarzan said, "You'll get what you deserve," Yasukeh would post an extensive thread showcasing Neace's committing false advertisement and defrauding people by disproving the fact that he never reached challenger in NA, nor was he ever a multi-role challenger player. Financial fraud is defined as acts that intentionally and knowingly deceive the victim by misrepresenting, concealing, or omitting facts about promised goods or services for the purpose of monetary gain, while false advertising is the act of publishing, transmitting, or otherwise publicly circulating an advertisement containing a false claim or a statement made intentionally or recklessly to promote the sale of property, goods, or services. On October 16th and 20th, Yasukeh posted 2 subsequent tweet threads exposing Neace for being a fraud. The October 16th thread criticizes prior DMCA strikes on criticism, constantly attacking people, and playing victim with any criticism directed towards Neace. The thread would claim that he has never hit challenger on NA, yet he claims multi-role, multi-seasonal challenger. Neace would often point to his challenger backpack that's on his website for his challenger credentials if ever asked, but Riot Games would give out awards to players in the earlier seasons who hit challengers, such as the challenger jacket or the challenger backpack in this case. However, this backpack was proven to be associated from a Season 7 Latin America North Challenger run. In that year, Latin America North Challenger was considered to be North America Diamond 3 equivalent. The worst part of this is that he was being allegedly duo boosted by a challenger women player named Oryx, which Neace would eventually feature in a Neace Gets Coached episode and also added to his website to be hired for coaching. Neace also made more specific claims of being challenger in Season 6, Season 7, but briefly a break into Fortnite at Season 8, and then he would claim to be in Season 9 Challenger 2. However, Yasukeh's 16th October thread proves that he admits to not being challenger prior to Season 8, as he brands himself as Masters Coaching, which is a bit contradictory if you are a Season 6 and Season 7 challenger player. His closest approach into high elo NA was in Season 9, where he hit Grandmaster, doing with King Stinks, a challenger Evelyn OTP who is also known for duo boosting. This account, named Death by Cards, would never hit challenger, as the October 20 thread provided a summary of data mined archived ladder ranks. Yasukeh said in an interview conducted that he had help from some programmers who designed a program where they would find all the Death by Card LP ranks on the different days. This was because if you actually want to look at the dates, you have to go and find them in individual threads, which is extremely time consuming. The 16th October thread also showed Neace's dishonesty by claiming to be a rank 1 Tryndamere NA based on the League of Graph website. In an ironic fashion, this account was also proven to be dude with Helicopter, which is a top smurfer in NA who is consistently able to get 80% win rate accounts. In addition, League of Graphs heavily skews rank according to win rates, so a lot of accounts who are Diamond 1 or Masters get to rank 1 with 80% win rate and 20 games played, so someone with Challenger ranked will be further down, so this claim was disingenuous. In addition, Neace also claimed to be hitting Masters in 5 roles. Despite no proof of ever hitting NA Challenger, he changed that Master claim to being a Challenger player, and eventually it would be 2 Challenger player in multiple roles. And of course it would also eventually be multi-seasonal. This change of claims would occur in Season 8-ish. When asked for proof of the accounts, he conveniently says he sold all of his Challenger accounts, unable to find a name for the accounts or provide screenshots or videos of playing on the accounts. I mean, you would think that people are proud of reaching Challenger, right? So they would either post or save a screenshot though. Furthermore, Neace would also dishonestly flex beating Challenger players like Tony Top as proof of being Challenger level himself. This is the same logic that a gold player will use after beating a Challenger player in Aram. The 16th October thread would also criticize the fact that Neace constantly attacks other personalities and belittles them after not being provoked at all. However, if he actually gets criticized, he would act shocked that anyone could say the slightest critical thing of him. As discussed previously, he brands people as jealous haterism to any valid critique sent to him. This evidence was brought forward after Yasukeh went over his entire YouTube and Twitter history and found nothing proving him to be NA Challenger. Yasuke would also end the 16th October thread by inserting Neace's response to it all. In an unironic fashion, this is what he had to say. Neace can't hit Challenger, he just bought his backpack and posted it on New York Post and Business Insider and on League of Legends verified Reddit Ask Me Anything account. But him buying his backpack was, never claimed. And getting an AMEA post, at least at the time, requires you to be at least Diamond 2 and above above, not challenger. Tian was the #1 jungler in the world, went into solo queue and got flamed rocking the Lee Sin skin he won by a Malphite top. I'm not saying I'm Tian, but I'm seeing a lot of that solo queue Malphite top energy here. 10x challenger means nothing if you don't make money, sorry. Again, this is just downplayed by jealous haterism, and even while the October 16th thread brought compelling evidence, some people criticize Yasukeh telling him to touch grass, or your level of obsession with Neace and lack of self-awareness is a sight to behold. I've never been coached by Neace and I don't have any allegiance to him, but you and others are spending all this energy trying to tear a man and his private business down. It makes no sense.
Delusional.
The October 26th thread would be even more damning to Neace, titled "The Definitive Proof Neace Never Hit Challenger." Here is the daily rank history of his account, Death by Cards, in Season 9. He peaked rank 343 on September 1st, then went on a losing streak and eventually gave up. Fake screenshots can't beat archived ladder ranks. This fake screenshot Yasukeh mentioned was brought forth by Neace in response to increased and intensifying criticism and scrutiny on the 19th October, 3 days after Yasukeh's first thread. Here Neace would make his own 8-page Twitter thread, where his first post was a challenger screenshot of the account Death by Cards. This screenshot was Neace's way of shooting himself in the foot, as people would find 5 main critical points to talk about. The screenshot had abnormal artifacts where his account name was, which indicated that maybe it was edited in. Some why the font was italicized, which never is the case for a challenger promotion showcase like this, and the font was also wrong, and this can be proven in Photoshop since Riot Games actually tells us the client font used. The most damning point was the fact that the account name text wasn't centered to the rank emblem. There's a CCS code in the League client which makes this always happen. The last piece of evidence brought forward was a photo analytics tool which showcased a lot of abnormalities in the photo, hinting towards it being faked, or at least edited. This tweet with the fake challenger screenshot would be deleted by Neace. However, Neace's thread would also talk about his goal has always been to hit credentials and then make content. After doing that, a bunch of has-beens and hardstucks have sent an army of dipshits to harass me. He would state that, aside from being challenger, I also made over 1,000 coaching videos since then, which means I didn't have time to grind. To close, if you make content, you make money. If you make LP, you make none. That'll be 350, Neace. Neace would post a few more posts to this tweet with evidence such as claiming that the Death by Cards account was an NA account at the time of sale, another post trying to belittle and downplay the criticism made to him, another post where he admits after talking to people via DMs and looking at the screen, mine does in fact look a little weird. Who knows? LOL client, GFX bug, the spaces in the name, no clue. And would go on to cite a Reddit thread which was his Ask Me Anything, and again, you would need Diamond 2 on any server to actually host one, and they wouldn't verify whether you are a challenger player or not. And then Neace would end it all by saying that no one in that Reddit thread was questioning his rank despite there being links to his OPGGs, which, you know, were gone due to selling them. So the 26th Twitter thread by Yasukeh would of course disprove this fake challenger screenshot with the archived ladder ranks. Here you can see that he was Grandmaster only and his highest achieved rank was Grandmaster 491 LP, ranked 343 on the September 1st of 2019. This is 43 spots behind the lowest ranked challenger player in NA at the time. Neace is just a 5'10" foot guy claiming to be a 6 foot. Anybody can personally verify his rank on this ladder archival site. Neace also used Reddit AMA verification for proof of being challenger, but they only verify if you are above Diamond 2. There was never any challenger verification that took place, and the thread doesn't claim active challenger. If you believed him, it's okay to admit you've been conned. Nowadays, this subreddit needs you to be Masters Plus in solo queue rank to get an AMA. Neace's response video would also showcase that he admitted to saying he only got close to challenger, but not actually challenger.
I very likely was really fucking close to challenger anyways. I very likely was really fucking close to challenger anyways. I very likely was really fucking close to challenger anyways.
Wait, what? Very likely being very close to challenger. Is that challenger? Is very close to challenger? What do you guys think?
You'd think a military vet would understand the concept of stolen valor. In addition, a few months later in December, Neace would expose himself to be using alternative and burner accounts to attack coaches and boost his reputation up. Initially, Tarzan would make a post about a few screenshots where it showed that Neace was logged into a burner Reddit account. This was under OK_detective531, which is now deleted. But the Reddit account's every post was Neace responding to haters and also defending himself. Veigar V2 would also respond to this, saying that this one account on Twitter is only made to hate on me and defend Neace, judging by the content of the Twitter account, the way he types on Neace Twitter, and on that Twitter account, I wouldn't be surprised if this is Neace's burner account too. Crazy guy. This account is notinput 20858565 or not important, where he typed, just in case anyone tries to lie and pretend that's not the case, what were you guys saying to people when you were 18 years old? :D. And then links a post about Veigar V2's misconduct allegations. Now you can see that this is allegedly very similar to what Neace was typing. DK Firearm or Valiancy 1 showed that one of the burner accounts follow Wavy News, which is a news outlet from Neace's area. Neace also lives in Virginia, and that Twitter account is following local Virginia news. 99% it's him. Yasukeh also had in-depth research into this. Initially, Neace wouldn't disparage Vigor V2, at least publicly, until it was revealed he was behind the burner accounts attributed to flaming Vigor V2. Allegedly, this Fan of 3 Reddit account is also Neace. As far as I know, Neace isn't really that good of a coach. Vigor V2 said that he refuses to watch Neace coaching because he thinks it's useless. Fan of 3 writes, "You mean that little mousy US coach that talks about ejaculating on underage girls? Yeah, I'm going with Neace, I think." Rolling on the floor laughing with 3 extra L's. Pretty sure everyone has done something like that throughout their lives, lol. Fan of 3 then responds, "If you're an US player, yeah, probably socially awkward and poor." The Vigor V2 drama has extensively been covered in another video you can see on the top right. So this jealousy by Neace is dishonest again because it falsely represents Vigor V2's character. In addition, there's also a clip from the 1st of December of 2022 where he has similar opinion and wording of the accounts flaming Vigor V2, allegedly speaking, of course.
The only thing I know about Vigor V2 is that he's a good coach, but don't let him near your children. That's basically all I know. That's all I got. Don't let him near your kids. But good video game coach otherwise, though. It would be fitting that people would defend it. Basically, I could give you real life summaries of people instead of like these weird rumors. Vigor V2 used to coach for Fnatic, and he said some pedophile shit and got fired. You can look it up. It's basically what happened. He said some pedophile shit and got fired from his job.
And this was a video Neace would go on to post about Vigor V2, where the thumbnail originally was called "Is Vigor V2 a PDF file?" But it was quickly changed to PDF being completely removed, and then later was revised a 3rd time to a more reframed version where the first letters of PDF are seen. If you attempt to access this video now, you'll see a message stating "video unavailable." This content is not available on this country domain due to a defamation complaint. Now, you'll only get this if you are on a Norwegian VPN, as Vigor V2 is also from Norway and most likely sent this complaint. So the point here is that somehow these burner accounts know Neace's talking points prior to when Neace actually talks about them. Another grim accusation about Neace is the fact that No Arm Watley once made a very dishonest claim where he flamed Ellis and praised Neace and attempted to compare their climbs. This is about the career arc we'll get into later in 2023. How does this exactly relate to Neace? The story goes that Neace allegedly pressured Watley into making that tweet, essentially getting other people to tweet for him and using them as burner accounts. This is just an allegation though, but the only facts that remains is that Mr. Watley was on Neace's payroll for a bootcamp event Neace hosted previously as a positional coach. In addition, it was possible to access archive data of this tweet where Watley stated, "We all live in a world where Neace has legitimately reached masters in Korea, 100% solo with no doing." Interestingly, on the same server, Ellis is currently D1 with over a double amount of games. Curious to hear people's thoughts about this, with a picture attached to the tweet, likely a screenshot of Neace's rank or OPGG. The reception to this tweet was incredibly heated, which prompted Watley to delete it 2 days later and apologized for it. Neace, however, obviously inserted himself into the tweet, but again, this is just a mere allegation. But this isn't the first time Neace has leaked things on stream. In fact, he has a track record of it. On the Windows operating system, if you press Alt and Tab together, you can see different windows appear, and you mainly do this to switch to another application. Neace would do this on stream though, and it would show on stream as well. This caused Neace to allegedly leak a lot of things over the years, such as the private financial records of someone who was working with him, most likely editors, and he would also leak private DMs. Allegedly, he would even leak group discussions about him mentioning and talking about Yasukeh's videos and content with other colleagues, albeit Neace having almost never responded directly to Yasukeh or talked to him directly. In mid-October of 2022, some very serious allegations were made by Twitter user Hancock. Allegedly, Neace was accused to be using fake clients or actors in his coaching videos.
Sup, Neace? Seeing you've been having a lot of criticism come your way recently. Some justified, some not. But more importantly, a lot of people who defend you seem to miss the overall point that people are trying to make, the overall criticism, I should say. What I have in front of me right now is a list of 30 people you've coached and uploaded to your YouTube channel 6 months ago and onwards to the start of the year, giving them enough time to improve after paying for your premium coaching. As you can see, a majority of them are players who are the average player around bronze, silver, gold. Now, before I get into my point, let me quickly play a clip from LS.
Where I said that I'm emotionally uncomfortable with...
So yeah, you've heard it from LS. Your rebuttal of people not understand supply and demand is irrelevant. It's just a matter of ethics. The fact of the matter is, the question shouldn't be, why are you charging $300 for your coaching? It should be, why are you charging players who don't even know that Scuttle Crab exists or that minions give gold $300? So you've tried to maximize profits, not solve a supply and demand issue. That's why you've not put a rank requirement on your time, because you know there's low elo players who don't know any better and are willing to pay this amount of money. Whereas from a business perspective, it sounds fucking stupid, mate. Like, your content is you just sitting on your ass bored for half the session. Why not just offload the work to someone who does it for cheaper, who you have hired, go 50-50, and then you have more accessible coaching, and you don't have to do fucking shit. And the reason why I say it's stupid from a business perspective is because you're lying to your audience, man. She instantly proved after my coaching, no she didn't, bro, she couldn't buy food and fucking died after your coaching. You're killing your audience. They're never going to buy from you again. Just hire cheaper coaches and lower the price. You know what to do, man.
He has been shown to be very likely that he never addresses is the concept of him having fake clients. If you look at a 6-month period when he was most active, if you look at a 6-month period where he was most active, 80% of his clients had like 10 games on the account and instantly stopped playing at all on that account, which would imply that these are actors. This is a very common thing that businesses will do. Like, say if you open up a new coffee shop, you're going to have a bunch of your friends and a bunch of like your family in that coffee shop to make it seem more lively, make it seem like, oh, hey, this is the place to be.
In the video, as you could see, Hanko would allegedly show that out of 30 clients examples from Neace's own YouTube channel, only one of them actually climbed. In addition to that, Yasukeh would claim that over a 6-month period, 80% of his clients had only 10 games on their accounts, and some instantly stopped playing at all on the accounts after the coaching session, which allegedly implies that they are actors. This is a common unethical business tactic though, where for example a place is seen more lively if you use your family or friends to hang out in your newly opened cafe or let them review your services on Yelp. Neace's statements on the amount of money he makes also would come under scrutiny. First, Ellis made his predictions with his understanding of monetization as a content creator.
Right, because I don't think that he was actually making a lot of money back in the day. Now I think he's actually making a lot of money. So I think his videos, so let me take a quick look at his videos. Let me try to project what Neace makes each month. Let me, with like my understanding of monetization, try to understand what he, now I do not know what he gets, I do not know what he gets percentage from his coaches on his website. Right? I do not know what cut he gets from that. I don't know if his website generates ad revenue. I don't know anything like of that. So I can't comment to that. Now his videos seem to be about 40 minutes in length, and they seem to average, I would say like 15K, right? If I like subtract like the highs and the lows, right? Sometimes he has some videos that like go nuts, seem to average about 15K. It seems like he has a daily upload, so I would project his YouTube earnings to be somewhere around like 8,000. But I'm not sure what he pays his editor, so I don't know what his expenses are. I don't know how many coaching sessions he does a day. So if he does 2 a day at 350 and he makes 700 there, plus he gets the ad revenue from like Facebook, but I think he only has like 150 viewers or something, so I don't imagine it's much, maybe 50 a day or something. Does he stream daily? I'm not sure. I would speculate that Neace makes, I would say he probably makes in the ballpark of around 300 to 375,000 a year. That's that's what I assume, because there's so many other things that I don't know. 300 to 375. Okay, it could be a little bit under that. 375 would be the absolute top end. 300, it could be a little bit under that. But again, I don't know what his expenses are.
Yasukeh would also state his research findings, which were more in-depth than LS. This is because Yasukeh allegedly knew how much his Facebook contract was, the platform where Neace livestreamed. He also did calculations on how much with full booking for a full year would look like in terms of money gained, and still with that in mind, Neace would make much more than $275,000 max, far from the $700,000 to $800,000 number he flaunts. His Trustpilot would also get under scrutiny because this website is known to be unethical. Often businesses can flag negative reviews and have them removed. In addition, anyone can make a review, not exactly confirming if it's a paying customer or not. Neace did say though in July of 2023 that he was going to close Trustpilot very soon, but it's still up to date. Neace would also engage in personal attacks against content creators and league personalities. He would constantly lie and belittle these personalities. For example, Neace copied a build of a person he hated, namely Yasukeh, and then a YouTube user would mention it, but Neace would respond in a demeaning fashion. As much as I'd like to credit that dude would literally e-stalk me for months, I actually didn't know or care about this build. I just tried everything, and then after they changed the clips, I ran tests on it. If he's using it though, that's cool. This implies that he kinda built it himself and then started to using it, albeit his match history never showed any so-called testing. Neace even used his burner account Fano3 to attack Yasukeh, so essentially he knows who he is, by stating, "I've seen you now trying to talk bad about Neace multiple times now, which is weird. I literally watched him pass you and make challenger with 1/10 of the Tryndamere games played on his stream. Even his build isn't optimal, he's multiple challenger player on multiple roles. I trust his judgment over a literal one trick that couldn't pass him with 2,000 games played. What the fuck, man?" And of course Neace would post his own alleged burner account on Twitter. Aside from from the burner accounts, which were more harsh than the personal attacks, Neace would also attack other coaches. This was Neace's response to Coach Steele's video criticizing him, where he would insinuate that envy is a horrible look. People will continue to flood my bookings is because you all suck at this job. On October 26th, Veigar V2 would respond to an interview by Asap on Neace. Here Neace would say, I have more business than him, albeit Veigar V2 is a coach for the tier 1 organization Cloud9.
So I was brought up in this podcast for, I don't know even why I was brought up, because I have nothing against Neace in like his pricings and whatever, I don't really care, but I mentioned, so I'm just gonna play the clip and I'm gonna comment on it.
Well, that was the other thing. Veigar V2, great coach, high elo coach, right? Specialized in high elo, right? He has a challenger account right now, I think, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he usually gets.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, well, I have more business than him. What does that mean?
Yeah, it just means like that,
like
marketing and branding is a 95%.
Right, exactly. And so what I'm saying is, that like at the end of the day, you got to make stuff. No one cares. No one cares.
So I'm not gonna measure dicks, right? So whoever has the most business or not, I don't care. Now the next thing.
I want to double down on what you said earlier, where you were talking about hiding your coaching behind paywalls. Veigar V2's Patreon's great, right? I think it's sad. I think it's sad because I feel like a big reason that he doesn't post it is because I think that he sees the community in a certain way, and I think that he probably makes a conscious choice to be like, you know what, I'm not going to really post these that often, right? Because I don't want to be in this position where people are nitpicking my stuff later. Like, I can't even fault him for it.
No, I don't care. If somebody's going to watch my coaching and say I'm bad, I don't care. My coaching is good, so I don't care. Anyways, the reason why I have a Patreon is because I have limited time to do coachings, and that's why you're also able to make this claim that you have more business than me, because I limit the amount of coachings I can do, because I'm always been coaching LCS or LEC teams and players, so I value that a lot more. And then on my free time I do coachings, which I limit to 3 a day, which I'm constantly booked out of. I do Patreon because it's a good way for me to upload while still getting good income. If I upload to YouTube, the only thing I get is views. That doesn't mean much because I can't use that exposure. If I get more known as a coach and more people buy, that doesn't mean I get anything out of that, because I can't do more coaching than I already do. That's why I upload to Patreon. Because that's a good way for the community to still get cheap coaching and for me to still get income.
I Will Dominate who responded to Wantley's comparison of Neace, and LS would also get the Neace treatment where he said, Dom, my little puppet, stay watching the achievements of better players. It's gotta be tough knowing I did this with the whole community wishing on me to fail. Any of you analysts wants to try to beat me, you will never try. Keep talking. Furthermore, most criticism made towards Neace would just be deflected or be subject to personal attacks. He wouldn't address criticism, but rather make the narrative such that it sounds like they're attacking his coaching business. And well, in the clip that Veigar V2 addressed when his name was brought up, Neace is trying to make the point that nobody should ever be able to critique someone's coaching, and it's incredibly bad for the scene for any critique to be possible.
What?
He would also lash out on Kaidrol and I Will Dominate for quote-unquote attacking him, when in reality they criticized the quality of his coaching and also discussed ethics when it comes to coaching, and whether Neace is actually addressing them.
Dude, you're like this Neace guy, man. Esports Analyst of the Year says this about me?
Yeah,
like,
on YouTube.
dude, wait, dude, why did you
That
make
video
a YouTube
kind of
video?
banged, I think. It's fine to charge whatever. I mean, he doesn't play high elo anymore. He probably couldn't help a master or a GM player get challenger that easily right now, so that's my biggest issue.
But I think that it's like, if people can afford it, go ahead. If people want to pay $250 for an hour, then sure. Like,
The way that I see that is, that's assuming that people are actually financially responsible. And I actually assume that a lot of people, like more than 50% of people are not financially responsible. You should try to be able to provide that amount of value. And if like prices are crazy, you shouldn't make people pay it just to make money. Like, I'm sure that at this point with like your status in the community, you could charge like 500 plus an hour for coaching. You charge out the ass for your coaching, but I feel like it's just wrong to like overcharge people. Like those people that were coming to me when I was doing coaching, like when I started streaming, being like, oh, I'll pay like $175 an hour. And even for $175, I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna take $175 an hour when like I can't provide that much. Like, so I think ethically, like using your brand and stuff to make people pay like really exorbitant prices that don't match up at all with the quality that you can deliver, I think that there's like something wrong with that. Like, I personally wouldn't do it. I would feel bad doing it. So I don't like that idea.
Neace would also attack LS for doing with his friend who were in the same skill bracket, or in another instance where he attacked LS again while also hiding replies, or when admitting to the fake challenger in screenshot but also calling Forrest dense, or when branded Tarzan as being obsessed with criticizing his coaching quality, or the time when Neace decided that the reason he's getting hate is "I've been hate watched and harassed now by people for over 6 months. I'm very tired of just ignore and it'll go away" type of logic. It's clearly not because the LoL community is incels and school shooters. It's weird and not normal. But with overwhelming evidence, what was the reception to this news? Certainly Neace had to respond to these valid criticisms that were being brought forward. Well, to address the reception was mixed to say the least. People under the comments of the 21st October thread would echo that he is a clout chaser. "I wish I was on Neace's payroll, but I'm just defending him because I know the type of people like you, and I have dealt with people like you that will do anything they can do to strip others of their success. You're what we call in the industry a sore loser. Ha 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 ha. Keep chasing that clout. Calling stolen valor over a video game rank is wild levels of neckbeard. Is Grandmaster not high elo? You must be trying to gain followers with all of this." It wasn't all negative though. Some people would applaud Yasukeh's work. I remember someone saying that when dealing with narcissists, all you have to do is sit there and listen to them talk long enough until their true colors are revealed. I will always think of Neace as the prime example of this. I like how well articulated this is and doesn't sound like it's coming from a place of malice, just trying to see the truth and show the fraud claims. Well done. Damn man, this is probably the first time I fell for a scam in my life. I never paid for his coaching, but I thought he was legit. What I hate about Neace is that the only way he defends himself is, "Nah, you're broke and jealous and I'm actually a good coach." I don't think he's actually had one instance of actually defending why his coaching is good, other than saying he makes more money than other coaches. But more prominent figures in the community would be more indifferent. Alan the Timo thought that people claim to be higher elo and better than they are all the time. Even a media journalist sided with Neace despite overwhelming evidence and valid criticism. This was seemingly due to the journalist in question consuming his content. From Esports News UK, Sacco would favor his coaching style and quality, but at the time this guy was blindsided by Neace's fake challenger credentials. No posts about his fake challenger accusations were ever made though. In a future post by LS, he would make a list of the best publicly available coaches for all MMRs. Chase Chaco would be baffled by how everyone was shitting on Neace just to casually plug Max Waldo with a $400 coaching price. And again, people who criticize coaching prices are rightly not understanding supply demand. His coaching quality wasn't reflective of the price, jealousy at the income, or confusion of how the pricing was obtained, and bandwagon hate. Yasukeh would rightly state that half of the community was still on his side at that point, but it wasn't until the faked NA challenger claims, Photoshop screenshots, alleged fake clients, burner accounts, etc. that he became a persona non grata. Prices were never a real problem. And for the record, Neace would also be in this thread again, asking Ellis to talk on stream or in person, which for the record, again, Yasukeh actually wanted to talk to Neace and reached out, but that never happened, albeit Neace's openness. Anyways, Chase Chaco would quote retweet and go on to defend Neace, just saying that he was 100% challenger at some point because he played in those challenger games, telling people that you guys are just wrong about this. The claims Neace made was that he was a multi-season, multi-role NA challenger, not playing in challenger NA games, and Chase Chaco only offered testimonial evidence. You're proving my point though, homie. I don't care what rank he had labeled on him. He was a challenger level player at one point. I peaked rank 4 season 8 and finished rank 9. I saw him consistently and he played well. Yasukeh would again say that this wasn't about skill but about defrauding people and false advertisement. Chase Chaco was frequently collabing with Neace, so he had incentive to defend him. Adrian Riven, who also collabed with Neace, echoed similar anecdotal evidence regarding Neace. In a viral post by Valley247 talking about Neace, Philaris, a jungler who has collabed with Neace and also works on his website as a coach for hire, he defended Neace saying that it takes about 30 seconds to find video evidence of Neace playing in NA Grandmaster / Challenger in Season 9, so I'm not sure why this hate train got off the ground so quickly. This is disingenuous because playing in a game that features Challenger players is not hitting Challenger yourself. Him being in Grandmaster is a legit thing, at least in Season 9. However, lying about hitting Challenger does not make you legit. Philaris would go on to state that 500 LP Grandmaster in Season 9 was high Grandmaster. The LP cutoffs were lower back then. Remember, LP has inflated since then. Your own linked ladder record shows a Challenger cutoff just 15 LP above Neace's rank in this random video that took all of 20 seconds to find. Even Aribo would say that's very valid, but nevertheless, Philaris couldn't produce any evidence for him being actually Challenger in NA. In fact, there wasn't a single game, screenshot, or a Twitter post from that time period in 2019 that could prove it. In addition, this would be the first time Neace hit Challenger on NA, so why not post about it? And why post about it in 2022 after getting scrutinized? Adrian Riven came into this thread and said, I remember Neace being Challenger back then too, to be honest. I also think it's a bit hard to get old screenshots plus account info, especially if you sold / boosted in the past. Like, no way in hell will I find my Season 2 Challenger counts, plus until like Season 8 or something. In 2023, you would also have the infamous JMO Tarsane Dantes incident, where Dantes even platformed and seemingly has been a longtime friend of Neace throughout other interactions. Seemingly today in 2023, people just have forgot about the whole conundrum with Neace, and we can't exactly blame them. Most of this drama is spread out in bits, and most of this drama is also on Twitter, where Neace's audience has no clue what's going on. When they see all of this hate from Neace's point of view, or when he brings the drama up on his social channels, he never really talks about the real genuine critique points people have about him. He'll imply that the reason why people don't like him is because he is successful, makes a lot of money, and is able to charge expensive coaching prices because he knows his worth, and that the demand is high. Most Neace fans only hear Neace's perspective, and if they see some random 30-second clip of Ellis blowing up on Neace, then they don't really know the full context of the story, and if they did, people wouldn't be so ignorant, because it does seem like jealous haterism from Neace's perspective. The fact can all be seen in Neace's videos, where people just essentially say, I don't get why Neace gets so much hate. Neace talked a lot about the controversy, the drama, and about himself. All of these interactions, statements, and responses made by him would show his true character, that being a jealous, dishonest narcissist and a deceitful liar. Two very prominent interviews were conducted with Neace in regards to the controversy. One with Rival, which was very non-confrontational and let Neace speak on tangents. In this interview, Rival would ask Neace directly about the controversies, such as what was up with all the angry Neace or the full caps lock arc on Twitter, the Tarsane drama, Yasukeh's threads, and the fake client allegations. We won't be going through these interviews entirely, mainly because both of them total 3 hours long. However, a funny little exercise both you and me can do is watch his response to the allegations and then just note down what he says. In fact, I did it myself. These are his main points paraphrased, and as you can see, it's a lot of hogwash. It's nonsense. You can't see any valid response to the allegation he was asked about. It's just all targeted hate, or if I may use a better term, victimization. I mean, for example, regarding the whole Yasukeh threads, he says that the League of Record website may be prone to having bugs or glitches. Yasukeh is basing his claims on potentially wrong info, and that he's simply there to make money, and the community is hang up on his fake challenger screenshot.
Right? And so again, every single instance, like if you really drill down into it, every single time it's the same thing. I played the same champion as this guy, right? And I'm gonna do it again here in Korea and make high elo here in Korea, right? Just because I can, just because I have money to blow and time to blow, I don't give a fuck, right? And I'll just do it again at 34. I'll beat this guy at his main champion again with 10.
You said I have money. Why did he have to mention I have money? I don't get it. Why does he have to mention it?
But otherwise it will be in the links below, along with Yasukeh's in-depth videos on the drama. As mentioned, Rival's interview wasn't that confrontational and let him go on tangents. Neace did go on to podcasts intentionally that wouldn't be confrontational. In a future news episode by Rival, he did mention that Neace has been his friend, and there is of course a reason as to why Neace didn't accept when Yasukeh or when Hancock reached out to him, which would have been actively confronting him. However, Asap's 2-hour interview is more confrontational but lacks follow-up questions. Let's have a look at the most important mentions in this interview as well. As you can see, most of the notes that I made when reviewing these two interviews is that it's mostly just hogwash. It's nonsensical, he's going off on tangents and not really addressing the real valid criticism. It's just him making money, people are jealous, and they are doing it to make content off on him. I invite you to personally go through any of these interviews on the topics regarding criticism to him and just write down what he says in a one-liner, and you will see that Neace is just yapping. However, people have made supposed rebuttals of the arguments and criticism presented in this whole video about Neace. The main response is the fact that he was a few games off Challenger. In fact, League of Records says he was in the 34th place behind the last Challenger player. In addition, some members of the community voiced that he was about 6 games away from Challenger. This in itself isn't exactly Challenger though. Some defenders stated that he dipped into Challenger off-stream, passing the lower boundary, but in less than 24 hours dipped down again, so the League of Records website didn't catch him. There is absolutely zero evidence for any of these claims. But even if this was the case, you would need actually 24 hours to go by to be Challenger. There's absolutely zero evidence for any of these claims though. They are speculations and the burden of proof is on Neace or the defenders, yet nothing has been shown. In addition, this would be the first time Neace reached Challenger on NA. You would imagine someone flexing that on Twitter, as most people do. Hell, even I flex my long-term goal of reaching Grandmaster on Twitter. I took numerous screenshots and videos of it. It's also documented on websites such as op.gg. Yet Neace never did something like that. He would have incentive to do it because it would just add to his list of credentials credentials, right? Let's entertain the idea that those speculations were true. He would still be guilty of lying. His brand was multi-season, multi-role challenger, and he would only be challenger on one role and in one season. And if this was his second, third time, why was there no documentation for the first time he hit challenger, which was supposedly in season 6, but which he went back on and said that the first time was rather in season 7. So there's a lot of illogical patterns and inconsistencies here. Why does any of this matter? He got Grandmaster, in fact High Grandmaster on NA. Surely that would be enough to coach people. The answer is yes, that's fine. No one has issue with him coaching. The issue is falsely advertising, as again he branded himself as a multi-seasonal, multi-role challenger player on NA. In addition, he also defrauded people by conducting business and branding his coaching with challenger when he wasn't. If Neace was humble, coached under his actual representation of skill and not under false pretenses, then it would be fine. No one would have an issue with him if he would admit it even. Nor anyone would have an issue if he just took the L's on Twitter. But Neace is just built differently. He doesn't take L's. That's why you will always see him responding on Twitter, continuing a discussion and never ceding a point. Neace also stated multiple times if he reached high elo again, whether it be on Korea or not, it wouldn't matter because he proves that he is what he said firstly. Obviously this doesn't excuse that he lied about his credentials, and still the fact of the matter is that he isn't a multi-role, multi-seasonal challenger player. Supposed high elo Korea doesn't equal challenger NA. Neace also refers to Adrian Riven's comments, which are also backed up by Polaris. Besides the fact that these people have incentive to defend Neace, they are based on anecdotal evidence that was recollected over 4 years ago. If you know a thing or two about anecdotal evidence, it is the fact that when compared to other types of evidence, anecdotal evidence is generally regarded as limited in value due to a number of potential weaknesses. However, if it is verifiable, that's another story, but in this case it just isn't, and it goes against the scientific method. Nevertheless, these comments by Adrian Riven and Polaris only implies and even states that they remember him being in challenger games. Now, this is obviously not something that one can even refute, because back then Grandmaster players often queued up with challenger players, hell, even Diamond 1 players. But are those Diamond 1 players challenger players? In addition, their comments are actually contradicting. For example, initially, Adrian Riven states that I remember Neace being challenger back then too, but then goes on to state I remember him in my challenger games for years. These two statements are not the same thing. In addition, past content creators Neace collaborated with, such as Chase Choco, would staunchly defend him with pure anecdotal reasoning. I'll say it, man, Neace was 100% challenger at some point. Ask any older challenger player, there was a time where he played in those games. Not gonna argue about his current ability or try to judge his coaching, but you guys are just wrong about this one. A Twitter user would state, I mean, Yasukeh literally tracked his LP on his account since they were made and proved he never actually hit challenger. Chase would double down though and blithely states, I don't really give a shit if he hit challenger, I'm telling you that he was frequently in my games when I was in high challenger, and the latter wasn't a complete joke, he was challenger MMR, I don't care about the label. While sure he played in challenger games, he didn't reach challenger on NA, nor did Neace ever label himself as a challenger MMR player, but a multi-season, multi-challenger player. Neace and others also criticize his coaches for singling out or dissecting extremely minor parts of his coaching. A one-time thing is of course no things to pay attention to, but when numerous coaches and high elo players review Neace's coaching, one can see a pattern. That pattern is being a very low quality coaching. For example, Tarzane showed a lot of critical gameplay knowledge was not transferred to the client during coaching. Seal showed a lack of replicable systems a client can use to improve or utilize in each game in Neace's coaching. Ellis implied that his coaching quality was probably not worth the money it costed. Vega V2 allegedly didn't review Neace at all because he didn't think there was any point to it, due to live coaching. Consider this, if you review a silver player's game, you would usually find a lot of issues, and if you coach him as well, you will find a lot of issues as well. But if you coach him over a specific time period, or if you review his games over a certain amount of time, you will be able to find a pattern in his quality of gameplay. This is kind of the same thing that happened to Neace's coaching. What's also very weird is that Neace has never gone out publicly and defended his quality of coaching, but rather his business, how he's successful and making money. There must be a reason for this, such as an implied one where he can't defend it well, whether it be a lack of game knowledge or he knows he's wrong. Why do coaches like Ellis, Max Waldo, Kadril not get the same scrutiny and criticism like Neace? This is more of a whataboutism without any credibility to it. Sometimes whataboutism is a good argument to point out hypocrisy, but it isn't in this case. These coaches have very good credentials behind their name, and not all coaches are capable of reaching challenger, albeit having good game knowledge because of a lack of executing said skill. That's why they are coaches. However, when you see them talking about games, their content being peer reviewed and such, one can see how talented they truly are. There are also other credentials that comes into play here, such as there's a reason as to why tier 1 teams hire these coaches. There is a reason to why these coaches are heavily sought after by both world-class pro players and casual players alike. But for Neace's case, his only supposed credentials are multi-season, multi-role challenger, which has never been proved, and his coaching quality is lackluster at best when peer reviewed, and at times just objectively objectively wrong shown in a consistent pattern. Neace also addressed in the ASAB podcast that he did hit Challenger in earlier season but didn't have any sort of history or documentation of it. You would think that the first time someone hits Challenger they would be proud of the achievement and document it, but I suppose not. In addition, no website ever tracked it, and he's also unable to remember or produce names of any of those accounts. Lastly, some people will mention that being in Challenger games is what matters, not actually hitting the rank, especially Chase Shako who went to defend him staunchly. It can be an achievement in itself, but it still remains significant to hit Challenger. First of all, you can't brand yourself as a Challenger player, you have to brand yourself as I can compete in Challenger MMR games, and even so he rapidly declined from Grandmaster after the fact, so it's not as this was a consistent thing, it's about consistency, validation of actual skill, credibility. All Challenger players have to climb to the rank. Challenger is the best of the best. If you want to claim yourself as a Challenger player, be one, and don't steal anyone's valor. Despite all of these claims and allegations, Neace would take a different spin on things, in fact spin the narrative in his favor. Moving to Korea was largely because his wife, who likely works in the military, was deployed there, so he moved with her to Korea. However, it was also very convenient for him at the time, as his whole Korean arc was his response to the fake Challenger accusations. He would attempt to prove to get first Challenger in Korea, but then he spanned the narrative of it becoming high elo on Korea. Most people would predict that he would end up in low masters, including Yasukeh. However, he spent months in being in Plat 3, being stuck there and also demoting from Diamond a few times. So he was essentially hard stuck in Platinum Korea, which obviously didn't sit well for Neace. Nevertheless, he would actually manage to hit masters on Korea, and a lot of people were surprised and even applauded it. Everybody seemingly forgot that this guy was stuck in Platinum, but there are even issues to his masters climb. For example, Nemesis was confused about this, but there were reasons as to why. He basically abandoned his Platinum account, explicitly copied the Tryndamere mid build that was invented by Yasukeh at the time, ironically a person he despises. He thereby rapidly hit masters on a fresh account, combined with the increased LP gains that Riot Games introduced in a patch. Namely, that patch was 13.4, where quote, LP win and loss amount when your visible rank approximately matches your MMR from 15 to 22 LP. All gain and loss values are increased across the board. One could argue that this might be a nitpick, but at the same time the Korean masters population tripled on a single patch due to the LP increase.
If you look right now on Korea, there are 7,451 accounts in Masters Plus. The inflation of ranks is so much that the amount of players in Masters Plus is 8 times what it was before.
Essentially, Neace hit masters due to variance, and it wasn't likely due to skill. In addition, Neace was stuck in Platinum for quite some time, and some people just forgot that initially he was expected to hit masters on Korea. However, when he actually did it, people seemingly forgot that this was expected, and suddenly it was some sort of an incredible achievement. Comment sections on videos of people who criticized him, and even Neace's own master promotion video seems to confirm that. Not to be an elitist, but masters in Korea is nothing close to Challenger in NA, and believing or thinking that high elo starts at Masters Korea is incredibly dumb. Just look at the recent bootcamp example, where a lot of high elo players in the US criticized the fact that some of the bootcampers got early Challenger on Korea. The definitions of high elo doesn't come into play until you are about over 600 plus LP in the late season of ranked. One could ask any current Challenger player about this, and they're likely to say that, just as likely to say that low Masters Korea is not high elo. Neace would also get involved in some more drama with LS. Neace thought it was hypercritical that he got scrutinized for being allegedly boosted, but when LS dued someone, he didn't get criticized. Again, the Watley incident, and you know, the allegation as well attached to that incident, would elapse. Neace would also post about this quote-unquote unfairness in his video LS got caught in 4K by Neace. Neace didn't exactly do his research well, as LS was in fact dueling with this guy live on stream while playing, and his duo was in the same skill level as LS.
Did he play solo? Link me that LS account right now. Link me that account, please. I want to see that. Yeah, I want to see that one. Link me this LS account that solo climbed. Link me the account right now. Put it. I dare you. I dare you to put it on the screen. Oh.
He's gonna link me playing with Zamudo, yeah?
54% win rate. Let's see. I wonder who this guy is. He happened to play 4 games with some random dude. Zamundo.
It's not random. I was streaming. Here's my win rate with Shrimp. And again, this is all like you can look all of this up. Like these are not like okay. There's a meme that me and Shrimp are a 30% win rate duo because we played 200 games together and we had a 30% win rate. That's why me and Shrimp laugh. It all happened on stream. It's impossible to lie. The other thing that's impossible to lie is I don't own FOW.KR. So showing that Zamudo was Diamond 1 and Diamond 2 at the same exact time that we started duoing, which I was also Diamond 1, Diamond 2, which you can look up by going and searching the ID. What does it even matter? I'm not making false claims! I'm D2! Before me and Zamudo start playing! What are you saying? Dude, what do you mean I'm caught in 4K? Listen real carefully, Neace. I was the most neutral person to you, okay? Because I know that you watch everything because you're obsessed with yourself. And I know that because you probably have like 5 burners in my chat right now. Who knows, dude? Who knows how many fucking burners you have? You're a fucking weirdo, okay? That's why everyone dislikes you. I never denied that you were GM on NA. In fact, I was the only person that defended you. That you were 40 LP off, you fucking freak. Jesus Christ, you're a weirdo. Why do you think we never talked after I met you in Korea again? We had a couple of DMs on Twitter and then I ghosted you for eternity. No one dislikes you because of what you charge. They dislike you because you make burners. You lie. You are deceitful. You don't care about the accuracy of what you say. People find you saying more and more weird ass things. You're just weird. That's why people don't like you. I don't delete my VODs. I don't delete tweets. The only reason that I have some VODs missing is because Twitch Korea changed a fucking rule and disabled VODs until, you know, we figured out like a workaround and stuff. I am so obsessed at making sure that people can't lie about me that I keep all my old hard drives and I back everything up time and time and time again because I just have to do record storing because of people like you who don't care about accuracy. But also, I'm not gonna play actively, and I don't try to pretend as much. Never been Challenger Korea. I never will be Challenger Korea. I've been Grandmaster at 2 separate points in Korea. Both of them, yes, were moderately early season. That's fine. I am not a consistent Grandmaster level player. I did play in Korea 9 scrims. I was the mid laner for Korea 9 for a month and a half. That is all true. That's all accurate. Like what? Like I don't know. I don't know what else to say, man. I don't try to hide anything. Jesus. So strange.
Neace would respond again to Alice's comments and portray himself as a victim. Look, the only reason I brought up Alice's rank in videos was because I was getting flamed everywhere for mine. I wanted people to realize the hypocrisy, not to start shaming every coach not maintaining high elo. It's insane. This is why he and other coaches should have stuck up for me when I was being rank shamed all of the time for helping low elo people and not grinding rank myself. A Twitter user would hit the nail quite well with this comment. Calling you out for lying isn't rank shaming you. When are you going to take accountability for your actions and stop with the narrative framing? Yasukeh would provide even more evidence of Neace admitting that he wasn't Challenger. In fact, he would also deflect all of his Challenger claims. In April of 2023, in a response to Chase Chaco, Yasukeh wrote, "The point from the start wasn't to be in Challenger games, it was to hit Challenger. You're conflating the two when you know Masters players could always high queue. Testimonials are the lowest form of evidence, and you are just saying he was in the games. Masters in Season 8 was rank 599. The equivalent of top half of Grandmaster players have always been able to get in Challenger games. Neace also has never claimed Season 8 Challenger. Here he claims Season 6 too, but then later he says he only hit it in Season 7 and Season 9 and dropped Season 6. Chase Chanko would continue to defend him, saying, rank 599. God, I miss when the latter wasn't a joke. You're proving my point though, homie. I don't care what rank he had labeled on him. He was a Challenger player at one point. I peaked rank 4 Season 8 and finished rank 9. I saw him consistently and he played well. We can argue semantics all day and I'm just telling you that he wasn't as bad as everyone is saying. And my point was never about his skill. It's that as proven in the other tweet from his words, he's never actually hit NA Challenger, yet branded otherwise. In Season 9, Season 10, I was 1 to 2 games away from Challenger. That doesn't mean that I was Challenger then. With his quote retweet, Yasukeh showed that Neace admitted his death by cards a Challenger screenshot was indeed fake. His Season 9 Challenger death by cards was something he admitted to being fake in a thread with Max Waldo and Forrest, stating that, I posted a screenshot that was like 50 LP from Challenger in the most recent season I had played. Are you real at this dance? It was obviously not a real screenshot. I didn't know about the data mine website thing, but it wasn't like I hadn't made Challenger in the past, dude. This shit is so stupid and you played against me even when you knew I was good. Why are you still playing dumb? Since Season 6 Challenger is a claim Neace dropped and Season 8 he didn't claim, that would only leave Season 7 for him to be Challenger as he claims. However, Neace would again admit that he never hit NA Challenger in Season 7, only in Latin America North. This means that all of Neace's claimed Challenger seasons were proven to be false. He has never hit NA Challenger purely based on his own own words. Neace responded to this again, thanking Chase Shanko for his defense and said he will modify marketing to be more about the content of coaching and less about the rank. This is supposedly why we no longer see the League of Legends Challenger name on his second YouTube account, or the fact that he advertises LoL Challenger coaching on his YouTube titles, or so it seems at least. Neace would announce his departure from League in mid-2023, but this was a copy-paste joke tweet from Emilia. However, 2 days later he would actually quit League. This is because he and his wife Mary decided to get a divorce after 8 years of marriage. Initially, Neace said he will take some time from social, stating that he needs to heal. On August 28th, the same year, Neace would shortly and concisely state, "Done with YouTube and streaming for now. Don't know if or when I will be back. Thank you for everything," and linking a video explaining it all more in detail. He would go on to say that he and his wife just grew apart from each other but ended the marriage on good terms. Moreover, he said the critique and scrutiny would take a heavy toll on him, together with the drama he involved himself with. He would also state that he was a persona non grata, but not for the causes mentioned in this Neace video, but because he was an older person. He wasn't a pro, an in-crowd, or making video for people that weren't good. Neace criticized elitism and gatekeeping and also belittled people who criticized him for the coaching prices, although that was not one of the primary criticism points levied by the community. But what effect did the exposes from Yasukeh in October have on Neace, the valid criticism of his lackluster quality coaching or the allegations of fake clients? Before the exposes, he did banter, his bravado was lively and his confidence was there. He was more willing to flame people and frame himself as better than others. However, after the exposes, he became way more salty and framed the narrative to being victimized. It actually took quite a hit on Neace's socials. His views would go down after the allegations were brought forth, such as going from his peak at 4.2 million monthly gained views to down to roughly 600,000 monthly views. He would also lose a few thousand subscribers in the same time frame. Despite quitting, Neace actually quit while having more views than he has ever had before. After February of 2023, his channel would gain more views, and seemingly the financial fraud, personal attacks, his habitual lies, and the false advertisement were all but forgotten. This was mainly due to Dantes giving him a platform to grow and involving Neace into the hot drama with Jmo, Tarzan, and Dantes. In fact, June and July was one of the biggest months for Neace's channel over an almost 3-year period, which is where the Jmo incident occurred. In addition, Neace ignored most of the criticism directed towards him and even pretending it didn't exist. Neace framed the narrative to mostly being about coaching prices, which made his YouTube audience not understand the full context nor understand why the League community was hinting on him. His audience forgot, and if anything, the League community forgot as well. Neace has been burnt out on League forever. He has a track record of not wanting to play League. As mentioned earlier, he tried to quit League about 10 to 12 times, trying to find some other community to join, such as Fortnite, Destiny, and among others. Even recently, he mentioned talking about joining the Valorant scene. Neace didn't move from League because he got stuck in the scene after seeing some success, but transitioning to another scene is not so easy, especially if most of your audience are there to learn about League. Now, one might wonder, is this still the case for Neace? Is he as bad now, or has he gone through some sort of a redemption arc? The drama is seemingly over as we are in late 2023, and most of this is mentioned in early 2023. No, it isn't. Neace is still on his high horse. He essentially has feigned a redemption arc without the actual steps for a redemption arc. Initially, he did some progressive steps. In April 2023, he admitted to the fake Challenger screenshot and announced that he was going to take all the marketing associated with Challenger coach out of channels. He would further state that there's a huge problem in this industry with rank shaming, coach slander, and general terribleness, to the point of which I think I have to make a stand to try to change on things. This heavily implies that the criticism against him is invalid and wrong. I was flamed relentlessly on TikTok and Twitter for my rank and tried to defend myself, as I truly had saved no evidence of much aside from that account death by cards. The flamed relentlessly was perhaps given rightly so due to his fake credentials and habitual lying. Nevertheless, his positive progress didn't see much fruit. This is because he still posted videos after announcing that positive change with Challenger clickbait. His site Neace.gg still to this day has the same Challenger claims as before. His video tags and channel tags are also branded as Challenger. Nothing actually changed after the tweet. Even Yasukeh had to personally DM Neace's editor about this because it was pretty clear he didn't communicate those things to his editors. His Facebook, for God's sake, still says Challenger player and coach, multiple roles and champions even. 10 days after the tweet, he posted a YouTube video with Challenger clickbait title. Even his Reddit states, Neace is the most renowned League of Legends coach, peak rank Challenger in several roles and thousands of clients from boy bands to bronzies. He's coached every type of person you can imagine. Neace is still on his high horse, and his statements about positive changes bear absolutely no fruit. The Tale of Neace is a person who built his brand or his business under false pretenses. While his early growth was under more true claims such as Master's coaching, the switch up during season 8 where he branded himself as challenger player made him live a lie that would make his career. His early entrance to the YouTube scene for League propelled his growth and especially populating the challenger coaching keywords. It was not until the Eye of Sauron or Tarzan cast his eyes upon the Hogwarts, telling him you'll get what you deserve. Neace deceived his clients and fans about being every challenger NA, let alone multi-role and multi-seasonal challenger. In addition, when the primary criticism was levied against him, he would deceive his audience by addressing a criticism not vital to the issue at hand, nor would he address the only prominent criticism to his coaching prices in specific, the fact that they were of bad quality. He would deceive people by stating they are jealous because he earns more money than them and their careers are stagnating and that they are attacking his business. Furthermore, the allegations of fake clients would also never be addressed and is a more grim and unethical business technique to gain more clients. Neace would actively defraud people by taking advantage of people who don't know any better. He also says that what the content creators criticized him for is slander, such as in this news article, Neace brands new wave of hate as literal slander trying to destroy his business, considers suing, wants to hit challenger on Korean server as a response to the latest criticism of his League of Legends coaching and fees. Yet conspicuously, he slanders others' coaches. Neace was incapable of addressing any of the criticism that came to him, at least the valid ones. He failed to talk about the bad quality of coaching, he failed to address the fake challenger allegations, and he failed to respond about the supposed fake clients. Instead, he tried to remove criticism by DMCA striking Tarzan on 3 different platforms, or Christopher Lee or Seal when they all reviewed his coaching, a right protected by fair use law. He would lie constantly and habitually about his fake challenger rank. Oftentimes he would contradict himself until where Yasukeh managed to prove all of his seasonal challenger claims to be unsubstantiated. In the interviews conducted by Rival and Azab, he would straight up lie or deflect the criticism and address concerns that are not important. Oftenly he would spin the narrative around to his audience and even victimize himself in the end. Neace has no relationship with the truth, and let's not get started on his quote-unquote positive change that never occurred, with challenger branding still prevalent in his social channels. Neace's interactions with fans, critics and other content creators and even clients at times can be seen as typical narcissistic behavior. His Twitter is filled with such interactions where he talks about just how much money he has and that you are jealous or attacking his business. His confidence was sky high, where he deemed himself even better than coaches with a proven track record and high-standing credentials. At times he would even belittle them. For example, in the initial drama with Tarzan, he would belittle him, call him poopy pants and talk about his, business for some reason. Neace showed resentment to many coaches. He even belittled them with burner accounts like with Veigar V2. He didn't only do this on one occasion, but allegedly with 3 burner accounts to our knowledge. This seemingly was important to him, to belittle them and increase Neace's image as a better coach. For what reason? These people had a big standing in the community already, especially LS, who Neace attempted multiple times to leech off on, but LS saw through him and never gave in to it. The question remains, will we ever see Neace coming back to the scene? Probably. He still actively tweets, albeit seldom, about some changes Riot has recently made. His YouTube career was on the rise and in fact at its peak. A person who loves money as much as Neace will come back, and it's just a matter of time. This video is based largely on research conducted and made by Yasukeh, so a huge shout out to him. You can check out his 3 in-depth videos about the topic in the description, and as well as here's his Twitter if you ever want to reach out to him.